I got passionate about it because I got deep in tax debt. And even though I was at the top of the GCI volume unit leaderboard, I kept realizing I've got a problem here.
So yada, 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 you wake up and you get really passionate about profit and loss statements and wealth.
Yes.
Which, by the way, if we're at a party, probably not the coolest topic. But on this interview, literally the coolest. Talk to me about those things.
Well, I got passionate about it because I got deep in tax debt. And even though I was at the top of the GCI volume unit leaderboard, I kept realizing I've got a problem here because I was behind on taxes, got further behind. I had a multi-year audit. And I had a lot of blame for everybody else, I will tell you, like my bookkeeper, my CPA, my financial advisor. How could they? But finally, I had a mentor who sort of pulled me off the side and said, look, I have to be honest with you. You talk a big game about wealth building and all these things you want to do. But until you get organized with your financial world and understand basic principles of business finance, it's just a lot of talk. So when are you going to take responsibility for all this? And I was like, oh, right, and like, boom, popped me in the nose at just the right time, luckily. And I realized he was 100% right. I had delegated out all of the financial work to other people, but with it, I delegated all the understanding of what was going on. And I kept getting notices from the IRS. So it was from that pain, Jason, that I was like, something has to change here. I have to take a different level of responsibility and drop all these limited beliefs I had about, oh, I'm not good with numbers. I'll just sell my way. I'll just sell another house and I'll make it work. Or I'm good with people. And therefore, I was like, no. I need to get good with this stuff, whatever this stuff is, if I'm really going to have the life I envision for myself. The first thing I realized is I was completely disorganized. I did not have financial records that could tell me or anybody else actually how much money I netted in profitability. I didn't have any categorization of expenses. And while I had actually bought a lot of real estate, incidentally, I had no idea if any of that real estate was returning a profit. If so, how much? So the first thing I realized, I needed to get organized and I needed to find a bookkeeper who could help me clean up my books and report back to me all of this activity, which resulted in hundreds, sometimes thousands of financial transactions, what it actually resulted in. And that, easy to articulate in 2 seconds, but that took a few years, honestly, because by then I had a decade of just a big jumbled mess.
Man. All right, keep going. By the way, everyone that's listening right now is like, okay, yep, I'm either there or I've been there. And by the way, no matter where you are, it's okay. The reason that we're having this conversation, I think, Brandon, you believe that having this conversation, which isn't happening in nearly enough places, is paramount if we're going to actually change people's lives.
It is. I mean, we see either the end result of somebody just having all this wealth, or we see people selling a lot of houses and we make a lot of assumptions. The truth is there's the elephant in the room in our industry is a lot of people are behind on their taxes. They don't have P&Ls. And that was me for a long time. So, I definitely love talking about this now. So the first step, right, was get organized and really get cleaner books and understand what was going on with my data. And then I remember I had this moment where my bookkeeper finally came to me and said, all right, look, great news, Brandon. I have a good, clean report. And she delivers to me this pristine profit and loss statement. And I remember looking at it going, I have no idea what any okay, cute. Like, remember, I didn't go to college. I have no business degree. So I realized, well, the next thing is I needed to create systems to understand how to read that report and interpret what the data was telling me. And I needed other members of the financial team. It wasn't just the bookkeeper, but I needed to bring in a CPA and a financial planner, and I needed to meet with them in a certain cadence, just like I was doing on my sales team, right? I didn't bring on a buyer agent and say, well, I don't know, I'll see you in 6 months. And we had a cadence. We were doing a 411. And it's like, oh, I, I need to do this with my financial team. Oh, first, I guess I got to get one. And I need to learn more about this, which is when I came across agent financials as a course with KW. I was like, oh, this is brilliant, right? And started to really dive into, now that I had a big why around it, what all these financial numbers were actually telling me about my business. Like what's actually happening here.
Gary always says when the student is ready, the teacher shows up. And one of the things about KW that I have found is you have so many different courses. By the way, the vast majority of that you've never heard of.
True.
And you have to, something
Yes.
usually happens and then you have to go seek. But Brandon, maybe it matches your experience. When you start to seek these sort of educational opportunities, you realize, oh my gosh, they're right over there. It's here.
Exactly.
Like it's here. Right.
Right. Gene Rivers had actually booked agent financials in our market center for the following week. I was like, oh, this is great, right?
That man has changed so many lives
Yes.
because he taught me agent financials. And I remember having the same epiphany, which was like, oh my God, I work 100 hours a week and I'm broke.
Exactly.
This is amazing.
Sign me up.
So I got organized. I
Yes.
created some systems to understand what these reports were saying. Then I built a team, CPA, wealth manager, bookkeeper, whoever else I needed. What'd you do next?
Then I realized now that I have the data, I can increase my profit. I can make different decisions back in what I'm spending with lead generation, who I'm hiring, how much I'm paying, and what their responsibilities are. I could actually start to see these different categories as levers so that I could push and pull. So at the end of the day, I could actually have more net profitability from the core business that was generating everything for me.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've been watching this show, then you know we just had a model moment. So that's when you take out your pen, you write all the things down. And I just want to recap this. This idea of getting organized, everybody needs to do it. You can't possibly know where you're going unless you have clarity of where you're beginning. Then we have to create systems to understand the data that we now have. Brendan recommends maybe take agent financials or something else. Certainly call him if you need help. He'll help you figure it out also. Then you got to build a team of professionals around you that want to be focused on wealth. CPA, wealth manager, bookkeeper, lawyer. These are examples. Estate planner. Then we got to make some decisions, meaning now we have this data. We have to look at every expense as a lever. We may have to be changing our revenue, but the goal is to make more money in your business so that you can use it to fund more wealth building activities. Brandon, I can't tell you how grateful I am for everything you've done for Keller Williams, for everything that you now are doing for the entire industry and every realtor as you take them on this wealth journey. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's another entrepreneurial Keller Williams story. One that makes me just feel awesome about who we are. And every time I talk to Brandon, I feel better about who I am. That's his superpower, if you ask me. So thank you, everybody, for watching.